Welcome into the Meltdown. Happy to have you here on this terrific Tuesday edition of the show. Star Wars continues to try to find their way as Season 2 of The Acolyte has been forced off the screen. Is it the right decision? We will discuss. With school back in swing, today's Meltdown draft will lay out the best standard lunchroom food items that we experienced during our elementary, middle, and high school days as we have our Meltdown draft ready to go. And John is going to profile some of the most helpful fantasy football advice that he can offer with another Luntz's List. It's all happening right here on the Meltdown as we're presented by MyBookie, broadcasting live from the Culver studio.
Two big boys in a tiny studio, teaching you and me about everything they know that makes sound a meltdown. It's the meltdown. Time for the meltdown. Coming for the meltdown. Let's start the show.
Thank you for all of your support of the Meltdown to this point. We have been doing this for a few months now, and those subscriber numbers keep going up, and we really do appreciate your support, making sure you do not miss a single piece of content here from the Meltdown. Out of theater reaction reviews, movie reviews, television reviews, all kinds of lists, Luntz's List, Laurel's List. It's all over the place. Meltdown triple threat trivia and Meltdown drafts that have now become a staple here on the show. I am Tim Melton, the other half of the Meltdown. That is Mr. John Lunsford, looking around, trying to find himself. John?
Yes.
This could have been a list by itself, and I thought about going this direction, but I'm just going to ask here right off the top.
Okay.
What movie, other than Sing Sing, are you looking most forward to seeing during the remainder of the year?
Ooh. There's a lot of movies I've looked up, like, what are the favorites for the Oscars? This is about the time that, like, the press who have been to the various and assorted film festivals, Cannes, Venice, whatever it may be, they have seen and they know, and they're like, trust us, this is the one.
And that can shift throughout the course of the season.
And, like, you know, some movies we've already seen are on there, like Dune is there, especially from a technical standpoint, a best picture standpoint.
I am right that Sing Sing is number one clear and away.
Oh, absolutely. If we ever get it, because it was supposed to wide release this weekend, or this past weekend, I think. And
I think it's going to be slow rolled. I think we will see it.
Tim is trying to convince me, and our camera went out again. Great. Tim has been trying to convince me that the makers of Sing Sing, A24, are rolling this out slowly across the nation to keep the hype alive by awards season. What's your take on that?
I mean, do people do that? Absolutely. I feel like if they wanted to do that, they would have made this their December film. I honestly, off the top of my head, don't know what their, like, end of the year film. That there's always one from most major studios that are trying to make a fight.
Remember, Iron Claw did that to no success.
Right.
Well, what else can they do with Buster Moon?
It's an abomination, but with what?
What else can they do?
Buster Moon, Sing, yeah.
Sorry.
I like Sing. And Sing, too.
I love Sing.
Anyway.
Sing should be even better.
Yeah, Sing squared.
Sing Sing is about a theater program within a male prison. Is that correct?
Correct. It's basically a way for them. It's a way for them to kind of express themselves when they're basically locked up at a prison. And Coleman Domingo's the main person in it, who's been really good. And most things that he has done, but Euphoria, I think, is maybe one of the first mainstream big things that he did. But he was nominated for an Oscar last year for Rustin. Is that the name of that movie?
Yes, that is
Rustin,
correct.
which was MLK's best friend, I think. I didn't watch the movie, but
I promise we're going to have this movie released in Birmingham at some point. It's just going to be
it
was,
in March,
but you had us playing college football 25 till like 2 in the morning that night.
I apologize. Biggest stream ever. My fault. I'll take the blame for that.
I mean, yeah, it'll be released in February or March once it gets nominated for Best Picture, and they re-release things and released a few movies we haven't gotten because, you know, we talked about how many movies Tyler's going to see in 2024. I always count movies that came out in 2024, even though it may be January, February, March, before you actually see them. Like, The Zone of Interest was one that we got for like a week at the summit in February because it got nominated for Best Picture.
American Fiction.
American Fiction is one of those. Anatomy of a Fall is one of those.
Promised Land, I believe, is the movie that I was crazy about that came out in January of this year, but it's technically...
Yeah, the Mads Mikkelsen movie.
Yeah. I love that movie.
But I will say Sing Sing is definitely number one. However, looking at the release, The Wild Robot, I cannot wait for it. I think it's going to be really, really, really good. I think it has a chance to be nominated for Best Picture, and I do think it's the Best Animated Film winner, which everybody's like, what about Inside Out? I assume Inside Out 1. I don't remember, but I think The Wild Robot's going to be a return to form other than Minions for anything Universal does. Skip all the way past October, Horror, and Joker.
Wild Robot feels like an Oscar bait movie.
It does, which is why it will also be nominated for an Oscar. Wicked, strictly because I love the source material so much. I don't really care what the movie is like. Just listening to the music will be good. Gladiator.
Okay. So
look
Sing
Of the stuff
else.
that's actually been announced, that there's a movie called Blitz that I think stars Saoirse Ronan. Everybody's saying it's going to get nominated for 1 million Oscars. There's some Spanish movie that has a ton of people in it that's going to get released. Oh, that movie, I can't remember the name of it. It's Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh, where they're like a married couple and they get divorced and have to like try to tell their kid. It looks really good. It's an A24 movie, I believe.
Shocker.
That may be their kind of end of the year movie, but there's plenty of things I'm interested in seeing. Honestly, I cannot wait for the Interstellar re-release at
Yeah,
the
that's a good
beginning of
film.
December.
Yep.
Love
And
that
it'll
film.
be
I feel
right
like
there in
We
IMAX.
should all go see it in IMAX to fully appreciate it.
Hopefully-
Murph.
Maybe they'll have new seats by then. We also have producer Tyler here with us in studio. Tyler, I'm going to do something that I haven't asked before of you here
How
on
are
the
you?
show. Can you stand up?
I'm working on it, Tyler.
I want
Well, you see my camera. Well, there we go. There we
No
go.
one to breathe.
I want to see this shirt in the flesh. That is an awesome shirt. It is half Iron Man, half Doctor Doom.
Oh, Iron
And if you
Doom.
turn around and you look at the back, you
That's what I
get
think
the
of.
mixture of both. It is a beautiful, it's a thing of beauty. And I asked Tyler today, I was like, did you order that before or after the Robert Downey Jr. announcement? Because I would assume that the person who created that shirt started to push them out after.
I'm going to guess you
Big
ordered it
announcement.
in 9th grade.
So I follow a couple of sort of like bootleg style T-shirt makers on Instagram, and the guy who made this one announced it the day of the big Robert Downey Jr. announcement. It's like, yep, I'm working on a design.
Disney is upset with you.
It's an awesome shirt. I love that shirt, and it's only going to increase in value over the next several years. So that's good stuff.
I would never wear it, but it looks good on you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Weird.
Why wouldn't you wear it?
It's too much.
Too much?
Yeah. Like it's like
Kramer would say it's too busy.
now maybe on me it wouldn't look quite as big as it
John
does
doesn't
on
like
Tyler,
Seinfeld references.
but I do not like Seinfeld references.
He went off yesterday on you and Ush
Oh,
constantly
he
talking
lost
And my wife.
Seinfeld.
So
Oh, it's
to be
kinda
fair,
like-
I did go after my wife
Like
too.
a loud talker, like kind of like that, close talker. Do you remember that scene?
Nope.
They ate a Snickers bar with. You should see that one. If I can get, if Ush is listening, do you remember when they ate the Snickers bar with
Is that the
a
one
knife
with the
and
candy
fork?
lineup?
No.
I made a reference too.
Yeah, you did.
Anyway,
Rockstar is back here with us. Rockstar, so happy to have you back in the saddle.
High five.
Why have you never really tried to be a serious video gamer? Why is that not something
A
that
serious video gamer?
serious video gamer?
Define serious video gamer. Like
Someone who enjoys
traveling
doing
the world,
that
competing.
in their free time.
I enjoyed video. I don't have the free time to do it. I enjoyed playing video games. I'm one of those guys that does the campaign. I don't do the online stuff. When we were in high school, the most playing with other people was GoldenEye. That was it. I never got into Madden playing people or NCAA. I would do campaigns for like Far Cry and Grand Theft Auto. I just don't like the multiplayer headset thing. That was never my. I want to be alone with my own thoughts, playing the AI. I don't like. I remember what was that game that the Division. I was so upset when I got that. I was like, oh, it's all online. Oh my god! I was so upset that I got that video game. I was so excited.
What was the last console you owned?
Like I said, I can't tell. I mean, it's either an Xbox 360 or a Xbox One, the first one. I don't know. It's one of those two. The last thing I had before that was the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Where I destroyed, I would play
Did you ever get crazy about the Wii?
Wii Bowling. Wii Sports, we played at my friend's lake house. That's the last thing. Like, I enjoyed doing that style. And the tennis, Wii Tennis, but like, I don't want to play Halo. That doesn't appeal to me, playing Tim and Halo. I'll play it by myself.
You should have done what I did with former coworkers of ours that we were interns at the same time. And I told him he worked at Best Buy as his actual job while we were working for free for the round table. And I was like, hey, when you get a Wii in, save it. That and a Wii Fit. That was like the hardest thing to get was the Wii Fit at the time. And he like, it was like a drug deal behind Best Buy. He like brought it out and
Yeah.
I gave him money for it. So you could have done that and played all the Wii you wanted.
Was the
to.
Wii Fit thing you had to stand on and it
Yeah.
weighed you?
It
And
basically
like,
looks like a scale that
yeah.
you stand on. Yeah,
is that
and
still a prominent thing, you think? Or what's the Switch is the big thing now?
yeah, I don't know. They
I
had that
don't
for
think
Switch.
I feel like it's gone the way of
Do they have a-
Xbox Connect.
Yeah.
Do they have Nintendo have a console that people play more than the Switch? Like, is there something like the Wii
No.
or GameCube that they're already pushing? Wow.
No. The Switch is their newest, and they're about to have a Switch 2. That'll be their newest. But Yeah, the Wii. I mean, people will still probably play it, but
What PlayStation are we on? 4?
5.
We're on 5. Okay. When's 6 come out? This Christmas?
Apparently, we're already halfway through the PlayStation 5 life cycle.
I have been so
a Sony
disappointed
exec
with
said that
next-gen
about maybe a
games, the
year
actual
ago.
software, right? We have not gotten a lot of huge titles for these awesome consoles.
What was the Cyberpunk? Is that still a cool game?
No.
No, it wasn't when it launched. It
supposed to
was
be-
up
supposed to
until
be
launch, and then it
huge.
wasn't.
And then it's just
Yeah,
massive
just
failure.
Totally flopped.
But I like that they're giving like Borderlands movies. Like, that's good, right? But it's inspiring good material. But no, I
That
never.
movie, Borderlands, was in a ton of theaters this past weekend because
Shock.
they had a 2-week agreement to keep them in theaters for a long time.
How's that agreement working out?
Or keep them in theaters at least for 2
Thing
weeks.
is, they've made like 8 Borderlands games if you count spinoffs and stuff like that. So clearly, the game has been very successful.
Game's awesome. I
just-
had no interest in seeing.
Because you can't say, oh, well, they only did stuff that was successful like Mario and The Last of Us
Well, would
and all
you-
that.
if
But all
they
that
s-
was really good. But
if they said they were going to make Grand Theft Auto Vice City the movie, does that intrigue you at all?
I think
Just
you
because
could
the
make
game's
San.
great.
I think you could turn San Andreas into a movie.
But would you be interested in seeing it?
Yeah,
I would
I
be
want to see
intrigued.
the burger shot order on the
be
big screen.
I'd be intrigued, but I don't think you could do it right. If I'm being honest, it's too
Same thing with Borderlands.
too grand in scale.
Yeah.
And Borderlands kind of the way. It's kind of an open world game too. It's kind of hard to do.
Speaking of the Wii, one thing that makes me go, Wii!
Nope.
Is a trip over to the dental team that I trust, located on Grants Mill Road, Dr. Jeff and Dr. Brian at Alabama Dental Associates. I was there yesterday cutting up with Dr. Brian about our poker games that we all have. Very exciting to have him in the fold. No.
I'm not
I
laughing.
don't.
Anyway, Dr. Jeff and Dr. Brian over at Alabama Dental Associates, they'll take care of you with the professional care that you'd expect. They're extremely flexible with your schedule with those late office hours that they offer Monday through Thursday, along with hours of availability on Friday and Saturday. There really is no reason why you can't go ahead and get in that dental cleaning routine. I had time for work, dentistry, and poker all in the same day, and you can too. All 3 experiences were awesome. Dr. Brian isn't just my dentist, he's also my friend, and he's John's nemesis at the poker table. The staff that they have, so friendly and welcoming of all their patients. It really is a great time there at Alabama Dental Associates. They're accepting new patients now and can help you feel at ease about all of your upcoming dental procedures. For more information or to make an appointment, call them 205-956-8977. That's 956-8977, or visit alabamadental.com, where they look forward to seeing you. All right, guys, we've got to talk about The Acolyte, Season 2.
Do we have to?
We have to. It's not happening. John, you were the highest on The Acolyte out of the 3 of us, but I don't even consider you to be a super fan of The Acolyte or even a super defender of it. You admitted, basically, that you root for Disney Star Wars. This is what they were putting out. You felt like you had to be one of those that defended this property, even though there were hits, there were misses. If there's anything I'm saying that you feel like is inaccurate of our discussions that we've had over the series, Acolyte series review episodes that we've done, please let me know. But you do sort of get dinged every now and then with jokes from me and Tyler that, oh, well, John likes The Acolyte, but he doesn't like this and that kind of stuff. And that's
What an idiot.
probably going to continue, if I'm being honest. But yesterday was a huge loss for those that really did enjoy The Acolyte, because they announced Season 2 is not happening on Disney+. This was a series that cost a lot of money to make. There was a huge investment into it, and it just doesn't feel like they got a return on what it was that they were looking for from this, especially since the viewership numbers declined week after week after week from what was reported from Disney+.
They got money from Tyler,
Boom.
technically.
Oh.
So,
Little boom.
how many months of subscriptions was that for you?
I mean, it's like he paid all through the Acolyte. So
Yeah, I
that's
paid all through
strictly
the
for the
Acolyte.
Acolyte.
Yeah.
But
Even wrote, why
I
are you
think-
subscribing? I love the Acolyte.
I think with about it went on for what, 8 weeks the
Yeah.
seasons
Yes.
did. I think a third month's charge went through on the day of the season finale.
Disney thanks you for your service. Go watch Andor. Even though I feel like
Okay.
it's probably
So
already-
John is going
not gonna
full
finish that.
Disney Hill here. You seem to be happy that the House of Mouse ripped off Tyler for another month of services that he didn't want.
He's not the first. He won't be the last.
So John, let's talk about The Acolyte, as you have now gone from Tony Stark to Victor Von Doom for sure. What is your take on the announcement? It shouldn't be a surprise, because at the end of season 1, we were basically like, there's no way this thing gets renewed for a season 2.
I'll be honest, I thought they had already said it, because the girl that created it had already gone through and said, here's exactly what I'm planning for season 2 the minute season 1 ended, and explained the whole plot of how she was going to use Plagueis and the Emperor and all that stuff. Like,
well, I think she did it as maybe a last-ditch effort to get the season saved, knowing it wasn't going well, and if she made all these promises of this is what you're going to get, maybe she could rally the troops to then get a season 2 greenlit.
I don't think anything was going to help with that. But
it didn't work.
The only real problem for me to come from it is you did waste who was one of the most, maybe the most mythical being in all of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I agree.
And there may have been a plan for it. I don't know. I mean, you don't necessarily write one season and then say, oh, crap, we got to keep going. Sometimes that happens, and you've seen it happen. I think Westworld is one of those. But, like, I understand the choice, but now that it's been canceled, I don't like it. And you can't say, hey, let's go spend $200 million making a whole other series just so we can pay off this 1-2-second tease that is the one character, like the one character that we have all been dying to see on screen.
Mr. Acolyte.
And then you did that.
Tyler.
Mr. Acolyte.
If I'm overreacting, you can tell me, okay? But I truly feel like The Acolyte was the worst written thing I've ever seen in the history of television. And I'm talking about any series of any sort.
Lord.
It was so poorly written with character motivations. They would go flip-flop back and forth.
Didn't they have a police drama where they sang the whole time?
I'll take that one.
Like in the 80s?
Probably underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that Hill Street Blues?
No, it was
Cop Rock.
Yeah, Cop Rock.
That's what it was.
So that's better than the Acolyte, you think?
I'll take Cop Rock, yeah. Give me Cop Rock. Tyler, am I overreacting?
Yes.
Maybe slightly, but I also can't think of a live action TV show off the top of my head that had worse writing than The Acolyte.
Walker Texas Ranger's pretty bad.
I'll take Walker Texas Ranger and Conan's lever that he pulls to activate a clip.
Which only made Walker better because it's like, it's a bad show.
So that's where I am on The Acolyte. I think it's the most poorly written show of all time. Now, some of the fights looked really cool, and I think we gave the show its flowers. And whoever the fight choreographer was for this deserves a chance to do future Star Wars projects. Do we all agree with that? That's maybe the saving grace of the show?
I feel like that's the main thing I've been promoting the whole time.
What does Star Wars need to do to tell their fans, hey, we've heard you loud and clear, we're going to get you back? Because the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done that in the course of a month, really all in the same weekend, with Deadpool and Wolverine delivering to make audiences the priority, and the Robert Downey Jr. announcement that completely shook up the internet and the entire stock buying process of bringing the Russos back. And I mean, it really returned Marvel to a form of we're far from done. What does Star Wars have to do to have that same sort of boost right now? Because I don't think a Mandalorian Grogu movie is enough to push it to make fans really happy with the direction that Kathleen Kennedy and Star Wars are going.
What if?
Would it be a big deal if they went the Deadpool route and did an R-rated Star Wars?
They should definitely do an R-rated Star Wars.
I think it would 100% work if they did do that.
Absolutely.
Now, and something like The Mandalorian, I'm not saying do that now with The Mandalorian, but something like The Mandalorian easily could have been that. But everything you just said that Disney had a massive win with, they did one thing. They pulled out that checkbook and they spent billions of dollars to buy Fox so they could have Deadpool, so they could have Alien, and Lord knows what they're paying, because all they said is over $80 million or whatever to bring the Russos back, or maybe it's all combined or whatever, but Lord knows what they're paying the Russos and Robert Downey Jr. and however many Avengers you want to bring back for the ultimate movie. They opened up that checkbook and they said, we're getting everybody that everybody likes. They all cost a lot more money because they did stuff that people like, so we're opening the checkbook.
But the difference is Marvel, they know who to pay in that situation. They don't know who to pay with the Star Wars side.
Now, did they spend a lot of money with the Acolyte? Yes. Did they go get anybody to come back? No. Spend money where you know it has worked before.
But what is that? Because you can't go back to Luke, Han, Leia, that sort of saga.
No. I'm not saying. I mean, they're all dead. But
what?
Surprise! You can't do that. I'm just saying you have bought new things and brought them in. You have spent money to bring back the right people behind the scenes. I'm not saying bring back Luke, Han, Leia. I'm saying Jon Favreau has done some pretty good stuff. Let him do stuff. Bryce Dallas Howard, let her take a little bit of it. Dave Filoni is up and down, but let him have part of it. I know that a lot of them are involved in a lot of different things, including the Acolyte, but go find your Kevin Feige and pay that person to replace Kathleen Kennedy. And I'm not saying it's Kevin Feige specifically.
But that person is an unknown, right?
Jordan Peele.
Not Jordan Peele. I mean,
There's no well to go back to because the well is dry.
Judd Apatow.
I don't think it's dry. I think it is drying. This is my unpopular opinion of all unpopular opinions other than I love The Acolyte, apparently. I still don't think the J.J. Abrams well is dry. I think it is starting to get dry. And there's only about that much water left in it. But it's not dry.
Okay.
I think you signed a lot of good people and then let them go for whatever reason. Like, Taika Waititi does one bad movie, and it's like, we're good. We don't need that. Patty Jenkins did one bad movie, and they said, we're good. We don't need that. Ryan Johnson, I like The Last Jedi. We're good. We don't need that. There's a lot of people who
Zack Snyder.
Hard pass. Luckily, they never.
Also, a lot of creatives that never got anything off the ground that also.
Luckily, they never let Zack Snyder do anything. But
you agree fixing Star Wars is not, and there's no simple fix. Backing up the Brinks truck to Robert Downey Jr. and the Russos, right? That just makes sense.
What if they had backed up the Brinks truck for the Russos to do a Star Wars movie?
I mean, there's no.
You're saying everybody would have been like, that's awful. They can't do anything good. When they have literally, for a hot second, they're the highest grossing movie of all time.
But remember,
have created the most successful thing Disney's ever done.
What was deemed as the greatest television series of all time in Game of Thrones, they did back up the Brinks truck for Benioff and Weiss, and that turned sour.
They never actually did anything.
Because it turned sour. All the relationships have turned sour over Star Wars.
I still don't think that you necessarily should have gotten rid of them. You ran out of source material, and I still blame George R.R. Martin a lot for what happened with Game of Thrones. You can't say he had no say in what happened in that show. But I think they can still create pretty good, because guess what? They created an absolute smash for 80% of it.
Not even Game of Thrones fans like Benioff and Weiss now. Like, even bringing them back to
Game of Thrones fans, they're not as bad as Star Wars fans, but they're pretty bad. I just think...
I would disagree, Your Grace.
Star Wars fans are splintered right now. There is no, overwhelming, we like this. They can't read the audience because the audience is in all different areas right now of what they want Star Wars to be. No one can define what Star Wars is now.
They have done good. People are not watching the good because there was a bad. It's just the truth. Have any of y'all watched Andor?
No.
No, The Acolyte was garbage, so I'm not going to watch anything Star Wars anymore. Tyler canceled his subscription. Andor is incredible, and that's why they're putting a ton of money into Andor too. Mandalorian, for the most part, has been pretty good and well watched. That's why they're putting more money into that.
Book of Boba Fett wasn't great. Obi-Wan wasn't great.
Obi-Wan was okay. Book of Boba Fett was not great, but
what about the purple hair girl? What's the other?
Ahsoka was all right.
Y'all forgot to mention her, so I don't think it's.
No, that's not Ahsoka. That's a character in Ahsoka.
I know, but you didn't mention the show.
I know nobody here has seen it. So,
oversaturated.
I mean, of all the Star Wars stuff in this room, has anybody watched anything other than The Mandalorian or The Acolyte?
I watched the Obi-Wan. I thought it was okay, but I had no interest in.
I watched Book of Boba Fett. I watched Obi-Wan. I did not watch Ahsoka.
I consider Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian.
I didn't watch Ahsoka, and I did not watch Andor.
You're missing out on those two.
Oh, wow.
My kid watches the Star Wars Clone Wars thing.
The thing is, as soon as there's something bad, people instantly drop all respect for it without even acknowledging, hey, there's something good over here. There's some bad here. There's some good here. Well, because there's bad at all, I'm going to pretend like the whole thing doesn't exist.
But it's also like The Walking Dead was popular, but what if they gave every single person a spinoff? Every single character of Walking Dead has
doing that.
I mean, it does seem like they're doing that, but I've never watched it.
Every single.
But you agree, even in this assessment, that quality control is inconsistent. I mean,
I'm not saying it's not inconsistent, but it does not mean that there's not. Inconsistent means there's some good, some bad. Poor means it's all bad. It is not all bad, and if you say it's all bad, you're incorrect.
But if you let the Star Wars brand name water down to the point where people can't even expect a
vast
good
majority
product from
of people aren't watching the good, though. They're taking, there's one bad product, so the whole product must be bad. And I'm not saying that there's only one bad product, but they're taking this.
People don't want to get burned multiple times, right? So
there's a proven track record of things that have not burned people. Andor is proven to be good. Massive critic success, massive audience success, massive numbers watching it.
But
massive.
You agree that Andor is not going to be everybody's cup of tea, Star Wars wise. It's going to appeal more to the political maneuvering of Star Wars, which is not what not everybody wants.
No, if you don't like Andor, you don't like Star Wars.
There you go.
Ooh, wow.
Bottom line.
That's the bottom line.
That's your Stone Cold impression?
Andor is a full return to form of Rogue One and the original movies that everybody loves. Right. Also, Rogue One, another Disney thing, by the way.
So, you're at a point where you're very adamant that if you don't consume everything Star Wars,
I'm adamant that if you're not consuming, you can make a valid opinion about it.
okay.
You can't watch one episode of a TV show and say it was garbage. I can't watch anything that director's ever done.
You agree that
movies or
mentality is
TV.
going to push people away from the franchise because they're like, I'm not going to consume everything that they're throwing out because what I am consuming is not worth my time or my money.
You consume one thing. If you're too lazy to consume more than one thing, that's your problem. And everybody here to consume more than one thing. So I'm not talking about anybody in this room. I'm just saying, if you're like, I watched one episode of one thing.
For most people.
And I get it. But
I mean, our job is to watch stuff. It's a little different.
But if Andor was so good beforehand, and The Mandalorian has slipped a little bit, but at first was so good to begin with, you can't just completely ignore all of that and say, well, all those are really good, so I guess I'll check out The Acolyte. And then when it's bad, be like, well, I'm not watching anything else. You skipped right over the good stuff that people told you to watch, just to watch The Acolyte because it had a cool teaser poster.
So in order for me to have an opinion about Alien Romulus, I have to have gone and seen Borderlands because they're both playing at the theater.
Literally not even remotely close to what I said.
Okay.
I have said only Star Wars stuff. You're bringing a totally
You're
different.
setting a clap
I'm saying
trap.
if you haven't seen Harry Potter, then you can't appreciate Star Wars,
I haven't seen Harry Potter.
which is another
Yeah.
bad thing. But you know what? It's not for everybody.
They made books about it too. Like after the
did.
movies, they released books.
Also didn't play.
Feel the same way about the MCU television shows? Like you need to have consumed all of them to...
The only reason I don't necessarily say that about the MCU TV shows is that they haven't all tied into the movies. I do think there are some that need to be consumed to ultimately enjoy it better, but I don't think it's... Here's the thing. How many Star Wars movies have they put out versus how many Marvel movies have they put out since the TV show started? Way more Marvel movies. They haven't put out a single Star Wars movie, I don't think. The Mandalorian Season 1 was during Episode 9. Everything has been after that. They haven't put out a single movie. The MCU puts out multiple movies a year, except this year where they only did one, but they made enough money to make up for it.
So your biggest defense of The Acolyte is Andor is good and you should watch that.
My biggest offense of... No. See, you just love spinning crap. I love
it's
Star Wars in
That's
general.
what I'm hearing.
I never said The Acolyte was good. I said you can't say Star Wars is bad because you don't like The Acolyte.
Right. But Star
My
Wars
biggest
right
defense
now
is
is in
maybe
a
you should
rough
watch something
spot.
else. One thing was bad, so I don't want to watch anything else. It's like, okay, that's your loss.
So
don't...
then what would you say to the people who are coming from the movies, the more recent ones that did not get the love from the audience as previous entries, and then tried to get back into Star Wars through The Acolyte? Because that's where I'm at, and I got burned for $45.
You've skipped over it. To be fair, you would not have remotely done it if we weren't doing a video for it.
That is true.
So you're skipping over everything strictly to go to one thing that, honestly, I feel like if you bought it, not you, but if you bought it strictly to watch The Acolyte, you're either A, trying to support the themes of the show, or B, watching it to hate watch it.
So could I say I saw Fast and the Furious 4 and I hated it, therefore I don't want to watch the series? Is it the same argument? That I haven't given...
If you watch Fast and Furious 1...
Or I watched Hobbs and Shaw and I thought it was terrible.
No, that's a spinoff. If you watch Fast and Furious 1
so
and say... But no, that's like saying I watched a Fast and the Furious movie that James Wan did, so I can't watch a single James Wan horror movie that he's done. Those aren't even remotely on the same plane. But James Wan got... I don't remember what we're talking about, but James Wan got announced to be directing something, and it's like, what's his best movie? And I said Furious 7. Everybody rolls their eyes. It is his best movie because I don't care about horror movies, but I'm not going to ding his Fast and Furious work because I don't care to go watch whatever horror movie
It does feel like you're putting the onus on the consumers compared to the creators. Like you're saying that the consumer is responsible for...
Yes, I am.
This.
Because how many times do people get in the next round chat or our chat or something and say, man, there's no good original movies anymore? No, there's a lot of great original movies. You're just not going to see them. You're paying your money to go see Deadpool and Wolverine, and guess what? That is A-okay. But you can't complain about there not being any good original movies when Tyler's seen a million of them, some good, most bad. But it doesn't mean there's not original movies. Because
they're out there.
I bet Tyler's seen some original movies this year.
I've seen plenty.
That you can't make that argument that they don't do that anymore because I don't consume it. They're there. If you're not consuming it, you're choosing not to consume it, and that's okay. But you can't complain about it. Anybody complains there's not original movies, it's absolutely wrong. 1,000% wrong. You're just not consuming it, and that's okay. Just admit, I don't care to go watch an A24 movie. I get it. You don't have to go watch an A24 movie. It's not for everybody. Those movies only make $100 million total because they ain't for everybody. But they are for me. They are for you. Most people in this room consume them and enjoy them. And then that's okay.
Star Wars is going to have a really tough time marketing whatever their next product is. I think it's going to be Mandalorian and Grogu. That seems to be the case, right? The Rey movie, I think, is going to be a cesspool for more political drama of how do you market something that no one's asking for, that people feel like they got burned by with Rise of Skywalker? I mean, Rise of Skywalker was really sort of the moment where Star Wars fans turned lethargic of going, I don't have to consume everything Star Wars now. I mean, after seeing this, either they were satisfied narratively and go, okay, thank God it's over, I don't have to defend this thing, or they were dissatisfied narratively and they're like, I'm done with Star Wars for a while. And they were burnt out on the back and forth. It really started to kick up, 3-4 weeks into Last Jedi and its run. It felt like Last Jedi opening weekend was the consensus on it was pretty high. And then week 3, week 4, week 5, we were also in an election year, I believe, when Last Jedi hit. Maybe it was like the Senate races or something, but was it 2018?
I don't remember.
Yeah, that would have been midterms.
Was it 2018? I think it
Last
was.
Jedi was 2017.
2017. Maybe it was the midterms. Maybe we had just gotten through a vicious election cycle to where everyone was sort of polarized, but it led to a lot of, you have to pick a side. You either have to defend everything or you have to hate everything. And for me, I'm very much, some stuff has been good, some stuff has been bad, but overall they have a huge marketing problem with how they get the fan base to support whatever those future projects are. And the Acolyte Season 2 being scrapped at this moment in time tells me that they're at least on the side of whatever we produce next has to be over with Star Wars fans, and we've got to make sure we hit on this next project. And I don't know if they're going to be able to.
Not a bad thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a very tough uphill climb for them to try to produce something that is overwhelmingly going to be accepted by such a splintered fan base right now. So that's our thoughts on the state of Star Wars. It's going to be a continuous theme over the course of this show because we're going to see what their next move is, because coming out of Comic-Con and coming out of D23, is anybody more excited for Star Wars from either one of those two platforms where they have the whole world's attention and they're like, this is what we're excited about? The answer is no. The only news we're getting is what they're deciding to move away from compared to what they're moving towards. And they've got to finally deliver a message of what they're moving towards. Even Galaxy's Edge feels like something that's an afterthought in the parks. And I think that that's been a frustration of yours, that it hasn't been something that has been fully realized yet, and it seems to be neglected compared to a lot of other park expansion we're hearing about.
I mean, I do put blame for that on Bob Chapek, but they did also announce they're changing the Millennium Falcon ride.
Right.
They did announce Andor 2. They did announce Skeleton Crew. So I don't know about that one. I mean, they announced a little bit more from the Mandalorian movie. So, I mean.
Well, at least there's that
and
sweet,
Lego Star Wars, you got to give Lego Star Wars a little credit.
At least there's that sweet spaceship hotel at the parks.
No, I think they closed that.
That one did not work.
Unfortunately, John.
Shucks.
Once again, I blame Bob Chapek for a lot of that.
At this point, it has become much more. It's become much cooler to be a
Star Wars hater than a
Star Wars
lover.
hater than a Star Wars fan, and how they write that, I don't know.
Star Wars is turning to Nickelback.
I don't like being cool. Is my response to that.
Going to have to work on it. All right, that is the current state of Star Wars. Spoiler alert: it's an absolute mess. Let's now go ahead and get into Luntz's list. John loves fantasy football. I became absolutely addicted to fantasy football when things got started last year. Thankfully, there is no fantasy football at the office this year. But that isn't stopping John from sharing his draft day techniques here on another edition of Luntz's List.
What is this? What is this? Nonsense list, nonsense list, oh. What is this? What is this? Nonsense list, nonsense list, oh. Nonsense list to five. Nonsense list to five. Nonsense list to five. Nonsense list to five.
Alrighty, John, name the 5 best pieces of advice that you can give for everyone's fantasy football leagues. This is what we're looking for. You love playing fantasy football when you're in a league that takes it seriously, right?
Yes, I enjoy fantasy football. Season-long stuff makes me stay with it. I'm not one of those that drops out. I do drop out of doing daily fantasy, I think, probably halfway through the season because I'm just kind of over it. I don't necessarily do bad. I think in our TNR group, I'm like 3rd or 4th overall in wins, but I just kind of fall out of it. I care more about what Alabama's doing at that point in the season more so than my fantasy. However, in the NFL, I don't really care. I'm the Rob Lowe wearing the NFL hat guy. So I can watch fantasy there, and I can give my tips since nobody in here is playing in our fantasy football league. So y'all use that to the best of your...
You would tell all here, this advice is free. But if you have a draft coming up, maybe you want to...
Although there are people in the chat that are in there, so don't listen.
Ooh.
That's good for
keep the stream up.
That's a good show advice. Don't listen to this, please.
Yeah. All right. John is approaching the big board of Luntz's list.
Pick the best person available.
Number 5. PPR or not? That is the question.
Points per
Yeah.
reception.
Correct.
Wow.
Good job, Rocky.
Thanks.
Good.
You got a
Look
big
at
hand.
you. I do.
Rockstar has played in our fantasy football league.
And I dominated
yeah.
until week 5, and I kind of checked
Best
out.
thing is, Rockstar's the kind of person who won't pay attention to it and still finish ahead of like 6 or 7 people in the office. So I guess you're a good drafter, even though I don't even think you were here for the draft this past
I
year.
do. Also, no, I didn't. I'm not going to be up here for 4 hours for the draft. I could not have gotten away with that.
Yeah, I did win our college league that everybody left for, and I was the only person I think actually drafting.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So you need to understand your league, understand whether it's PPR or not, and also understand how many points per reception you get. Sometimes it's 0, so it's not a PPR league. Sometimes it's half a point. Sometimes it's a whole point. You need to understand, and this kind of goes with the rules in general, understand the rules, understand where you're getting your money. If you want to draft a running back, are they a running back that catches the ball a lot, like Christian McCaffrey, let's say, or are they more of a Derrick Henry type that they're just going to pound it up the middle every time, and he's not the kind of person you really throw passes to? Now, in the NFL today, you do throw the ball a lot to the running backs, no matter who they are, but understand what kind of league it is, and then that can kind of help your first couple of picks, because I don't like drafting a wide receiver in the first round. I do like drafting a Christian McCaffrey. Saquon Barkley has been that in the past. Alvin Kamara, those that are kind of more likely to, catch passes out of the backfield and get those extra points that a receiver would get too, because a running back's going to catch. A good running back that likes to catch the ball is still going to get, 4 or 5 catches at least out of the backfield. Plus, they're going to rush for whatever they're rushing for. It's kind of I don't know what to say, but it's kind of, you get the double points there as opposed to a receiver who may or may not be targeted, because even if you're running a lot, you may not throw it as much. If you get up big early on and it's because of the rushing attack, you're just going to run the ball more. So understand your league, understand if PPR is something you need to pay attention to or not, and basically understand your rules and what you're going to get. Also would say understand your kicking too, because sometimes you lose points for kicking, sometimes you don't lose points for kicking. Sometimes you get more points for kicking further. There's a lot of rules, there's a lot of points. Understand your points, especially your points per reception.
That is a great starting piece of advice. If you don't know what type of league you're trying to be successful in, then you're doomed to fail from the start. So a perfect way to start off Luntz's list.
I like Chase's comment, draft only quarterbacks and create a monopoly. I mean, you could do that.
Well, that's $20 a pop if you draft the right ones, I guess.
Choose players like Clinton Portis.
See, people don't know, but you make the right pick at quarterback.
No Lynn bias.
You make some money.
Yep.
Do
Number
not
4.
pick Lynn bias.
No bias. So put your fandom aside.
Put your fandom aside. Now, I do not do this.
But you want to.
Alabama players are
My
pretty darn
quarterback's
good.
Andor.
Alabama players are pretty darn good. Jalen Hurts is one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
I know.
I'm
That was
moving
funny.
on.
That was funny.
Jalen Hurts is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, especially when it comes to fantasy, because he runs a lot. Cam Newton's the same way. I had to put my bias aside and draft Cam Newton back in the day. Derrick Henry is one of the best running backs in the league because he's a workhorse who's going to get so many carries. He breaks just a couple, and he's been well worth it. Alvin Kamara, I'll kind of sort of consider that an Alabama player. Josh Jacobs, same way with the Raiders the past few years, has been really good for me. Calvin Ridley, Jerry Jeudy, Julio back in the day, you name it. There's a lot of good Alabama players you can pick. I'm not saying pick all Alabama players because that's my bias. However, just because there's an Alabama player and somebody else, or an Auburn player and somebody else, which there's not a lot of those, or if there's any player you feel like I like that guy, don't necessarily pick him just because, I like that guy in college, or I like that guy because he plays for my team. Really, this should probably go, I guess, more with your NFL team. Don't take your bias into account because just because Derrick Henry left the Titans to go to the Ravens doesn't mean you're necessarily not going to draft him anymore. You may still draft somebody like Derrick Henry. So Spears, their starting running back now. I don't even know.
Yes.
But you may draft somebody like Derrick Henry. You may draft somebody like Spears because it's a PPR league and he's going to catch the ball out of the backfield. So take your bias out, whether it's your NFL team or your college team. just pick based on the player and what you ultimately think they can do. And, hey, if they burn your team one day, more power to you because you're winning fantasy football.
Josh says draft with the numbers, not with your heart.
See, that's why I probably like playing fantasy baseball more than anything because I do not care about baseball whatsoever.
Except for the A's, you're a big fan.
Except for being the world's biggest A's fan. Once again, I don't have to care about that for very long in the season. So I draft strictly. I've only done one full season fantasy baseball league in my life, and I got second behind somebody who knew a ton of baseball. But I did really good. I won almost every week because I strictly looked at the numbers, and I didn't even know who any of these people were. But that guy has good numbers. That guy's trending well. I'm going to pick that person. I'm going to start that person. And it always worked out. Whereas now it's like, I know what this person's really like because I'm a football genius. And it ends up biting me. So pretty much play the numbers is taking the bias out.
All right, let's move on to number 3 on Luntz's list of 5 pieces of fantasy advice for your leagues as everyone's looking to make the most with their upcoming fantasy football team.
Number 3, tier lists.
I think tiering anything is better than ranking anything. I would
Well, that's
say
going to be the end of Luntz's list, everybody. No more rankings.
Now, the 5 that make it are very much the 5 top tier
Got it.
choices.
Okay.
We're going to start doing a segment called
It's
Tyler's tier lists.
It's Tyler's tier list, yeah.
I think with movies, I didn't like doing this, and I wish I could do this on Letterboxd, but I've kind of quit. But I used to tier, like, these are my S-tier movies. They're the absolute best of the best, 5 out of 5, and there would be 2, maybe 3 every year. Then there's, like, my A-tier, and that's kind of between, like, a 4.5, 4, kind of fall in there.
Like where you put Oppenheimer.
Basically, A-tier, not bad. Not bad to put it there. Definitely not S-tier. But, you know, Barbie would also fall there. But the thing is, I don't have to rank one above the other.
Oh.
I can put them both on the tier list.
What? Tyler, you're making all these different...
The way he just goes, Barbie, I would put that right there too.
I would.
Like right next to Oppenheimer.
Okay.
I just know it's hurting you, Tim.
Now it made me.
I
It
know
made me
that
rank
about
them.
him.
It made me rank them on Letterboxd, and I ranked Barbie ahead of Oppenheimer. But with the tier list, you would never know which one I actually like because I just put it in alphabetical order. In which case, Barbie would still be ahead of Oppenheimer.
We're working through some stuff today. We're getting the trauma out, which is good.
Wow.
It's the highest grossing movie of the year. I'm sorry.
That was Rebel Moon.
Which I also saw that and did not rank it quite as high as either one of those. It would probably be a C tier until the director's cut, and then it would be in Z tier. I won't even go F. I'll go Z. Anyway, create tier lists. I think if you do this, not only can you create tier lists based on position, based on just overall, like just because somebody's the highest overall available, don't necessarily take that person. Tier it out, see what you need, and say, hey, I need a running back right now. Let me go to my tier list and see where I should potentially draft. Is it PPR or is it not? I need to know how I can move people on my tier based on that. Tier it up. Tier, I do like to do S tier because that's kind of in gaming, kind of how the top tier is. And then like S, A, B, C. And honestly, if you're a D, I'm probably not picking you anyway. But
Got it.
Go through and do that for all the positions. And then when it comes to your turn, you're like, I need to take a quarterback. Go to your tier list. See where you are. Who's an S tier quarterback? There's only one left. That should be the guy that you draft. That's the one you want to stick with.
I don't want to spoil anything that may be on Luntz's list, but I feel like it falls into this category, and I feel like it falls into number 4 as well. If there is someone you have a sentimental sort of pick for, would you consider picking them last to have them on your team, or is that a wasted spot in your opinion?
I have done that. One year I was so confident in my draft, I picked Brett Favre the year after he had retired, but you know, he's one of those that kind of waffled like Tom Brady's doing right now. Tom Brady could be that right now. I was so confident I picked Brett Favre, who played for nobody, just as like I got such a good team. I'm going to pick him as my backup quarterback. Got destroyed that year. So you can do that if you want to. You can pick somebody. I'm sure like Cam Newton's still on there because like you never know if Cam Newton's going to make a triumphant return. They have all these players at the bottom that's like, we'll keep him on there because, you know, look at Joe Flacco's prime example. He's kind of a journeyman quarterback now. Who knows what team he'll be on, but he could trade teams 3 times this season potentially and still potentially play even. So,
and you need to have a solid backup, especially for bye weeks and injuries and everything else.
So like even if Joe Flacco wasn't on a team right now, if you just have no other option, which with 32 starting quarterbacks, you're going to have another option. But I could see you doing something like that and drafting Joe Flacco. And guess what? He comes back for the Browns and is comeback player of the year and ends up being really good.
I'm sure there's people towards the end of the last season that picked up Aaron Rodgers because he was injured, but there was this sort of rumor that he could come back. And then all of a sudden, if he comes back and he's just lighting up things for the Jets for some reason, or he's getting some quality playing time. And also with the keeper league sort of mentality, you may want to have him on your roster so that way you can have him next year.
Well, we had talked about if we did another one up here, Lance really wanted to do a keeper league. So I traded a couple of players that were good this year for a couple of players that had not been performing as well, but like I traded Tua for Patrick Mahomes. In general, Patrick Mahomes way better than Tua. Now, did Tua do all right and actually not get injured last year? Sure. Could he potentially outscore Patrick Mahomes? Sure, especially with the receivers he has. But I traded for him. I traded for Derrick Henry, not knowing what his future was. Hey, if he goes to a really good team, the Ravens are a really good team.
They are.
That could be potentially that much more that he gets with a better offensive line or something in front of him. So there's players like that it was like, I don't know who I would have saved. I probably would have saved
Zay Flowers.
You
got rid of Zay Flowers.
I got rid of Zay Flowers I got rid of Zay Flowers and some other running back for Patrick Mahomes and Tua. For Patrick Mahomes, Derrick Henry, Calvin Ridley, and Deebo Samuel. But Deebo Samuel was hurt at the time. But he is one of those that's like, he's really good too. So any of those I could keep. I also had Travis Kelce. He was my first draft pick last year, which typically is pretty good because you also need to, I didn't have this on my list, but you kind of need to keep per position. Like if you can get you Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, or George Kittle or somebody like that, I mean, that's a lot of points that your other players aren't getting because those kind of tight ends are just way above everybody else.
Number 2 on Luntz's list. That is the current name of this segment. May change. Who knows? Could call it Jonathan Timothy Tears.
Mock draft.
JTT.
Oh, I love this piece of advice.
That's right. Yeah.
R for restricted and Rockstar.
Anyway,
Mock draft.
Do mock drafts.
Yes.
Nothing is better at teaching you, that player I picked is gone. How can I potentially put this together? Because all you have to go on right now is basically a preview of what people think they're going to do. You can compare it on last season if you want to. You can compare it on what people think they're going to do this season. Do a mock draft, and it's like, I may have the second pick in my draft, and I really want Christian McCaffrey. Well, that person gets taken first. Okay, well, crap, what am I going to do now? And then you have to wait all that snake draft. I got number 9 in a 14-team league, so I'm right in the middle. I hate being in the middle, as we've seen from our drafts. But, I think doing a mock, understanding where you could potentially run into some issues before you actually get into your real draft and panic with your 30 seconds or 60 seconds to pick, you're going to learn a little bit.
Yeah, and that person that you think may be a sleeper pick, if they're starting to be taken consistently in your mock draft, you may know that you need to pull the trigger on them a lot earlier.
Yeah.
And that they're not nearly as clever of a pick as you may think. Because if there are some, let's say, influencers out there that specialize in fantasy drafts, and they're telling their entire audience this is the sleeper pick to go with, and you're like, I got some secret information, but they have 1.4 million views in their video, there's a good chance someone else in your league probably also has that secret information, and then you're not going to be able to hold on to that pick for very long.
Because everybody's a hater, Jalen Hurts was that person for me. It's like, they're not going to draft Jalen Hurts. They're looking at, he's an idiot. He's not going to be good. He's awful. He was terrible at Alabama, blah, blah, blah. And so I didn't get Jalen until the 8th round 2 years ago. And then last year, Tyler decides, hey, I'm going to take Jalen Hurts so John can't have him.
Did that Jalen hurt your feelings?
It did Jalen hurt my feelings.
Okay.
And then Tim paid for him.
I did.
So
I was just trying to drum up some interest in the league, and it certainly did. I've never been looked at more viciously here in the office.
interest is a strong word.
Interest is a strong word. All right, number 1 here on Luntz's list, the biggest piece of advice that John can give you for your fantasy team is...
People were wanting John to step down as commissioner after that. He
approved
brutal.
it. I mean, we worked on it throughout the entire process.
Yeah.
That is true. I agree. Number 1.
Don't take it too seriously. Don't take it too
Don't
seriously.
take it too seriously. That has not been a problem up here for a lot of people.
Says the guy that just did 5 of these. Sorry. Sorry.
You just poured your heart out only to have it absolutely destroyed.
Here's the thing. I'm just smarter than people when it comes to this. I don't have to take it super seriously.
I'm dumber.
I have
no
finished
clue.
top 3 the last 2 years. So, although Lance, once again is pretty good at this too, has been at the top, and Jim somehow won last year, who drafted Aaron Rodgers. And of course, Jim Dunaway landmine Aaron Rodgers in the first play, but he also got Christian McCaffrey somehow. And Christian McCaffrey did not shockingly get injured, even though he's one that is injury prone. Don't stress over it too much. It's just for fun. Yeah, you may have $20 on it, $50 on it, $100 on it, but at the end of the season, if you really spread that out over weeks, I mean, it's like a cup of coffee a week. I mean, it's not that big a deal. Don't take it too seriously.
I take it way too seriously. I love fantasy football when I'm in the thick of things. I'm watching every Sunday like a stockbroker out on Wall Street that's sweating the losses. I mean, I'm really watching every play. I'm screaming at the TV, hand it to my guy, throw it to my guy. What are you doing? You know, I mean, I love fantasy football once I get into it, but I hate the idea of getting into it in the off season.
The worst is when you
don't want to be
flip
consumed
over
by it.
and you're like, throw it to my guy. Where's my guy? And then your guy got hurt like a quarter before that, before you even found out. And it's like, oh, they're not throwing it to my guy anymore.
I had a wonderful fantasy team last year until every one of them started getting hurt. Justin Jefferson, Mark Andrews. I mean, just go through the entire list. My quarterbacks I could not keep healthy throughout the entirety of the season, which is why I had to go with Jalen Hurts.
How did that work out for you, by the way? Like
Jalen was very consistent with the numbers that he would put up. He was great.
He was leading my team.
Yeah, but I couldn't keep the rest of my team healthy, especially at the tight end position. And Mark Andrews was a beast for me until he got hurt. And then, you know, he misses the rest of the season, and then all of a sudden that's an anchor on my team who's completely gone. So I feel very passionately that I would have been in contention to win the whole thing if I could have kept my team healthy last year. I really wanted Zay Flowers, couldn't put my hands on him. Got Justin Jefferson first overall. Guy gets hurt a few weeks into the season.
Did you get him first overall? Didn't you get him from EG?
No. I traded Justin Jefferson to her after he got hurt.
Here, he's valuable.
She agreed it was a good
It's
idea.
week 17.
EG's
He's
not
good.
playing.
Yeah, no, so it worked out. But I couldn't keep my players healthy. If they were on my team, they were getting hurt. That's as simple as that. So, anyway.
Also, don't have the most points scored against you like I did last year. It was not fun. I got so many points scored against me.
There we go. Well, that's going to do it for Luntz's list. This one has a little bit of depression associated with it. Can you guys feel it? I feel it in the air.
I'm all right.
You're okay?
Yeah,
Tyler's good.
Tyler would play inactive players a lot last year, and that kind of drove me crazy.
I had 230 more points scored than you. It was sad.
Yeah.
Scored against me, sorry.
Yeah. It's all good. That was last year. It's a whole new season ahead of us. Good luck to everyone who's drafting your fantasy teams. All right. It is now time to clear the board because we are going to our Meltdown draft here. And today's topic is one that I hope is not controversial. Every week it seems like we have some sort of big debate and discussion about what's allowed and what's not. But we have decided upon generic school cafeteria lunch items. These are lunch items that are served in cafeterias, or at least were during our school days, with elementary school, middle school, high school. Anything that you can refer back to as being a staple of your lunchroom is up for grabs here. Cannot go specific brands. Have to go with sort of the generic, this is what everyone had access to at some point during their school days. I'm sure it will lead to some sort of conflict, but I certainly hope not. So we are going to be drafting 4 apiece. So there will be 4 rounds of drafting here because it's not a huge litany of items to choose from. There's 4 of us, 4 rounds, and I'm going to give the random order right now. So 4 of us, boom. It is going to be drafting first overall will be me. Drafting second will be Tyler. Drafting third will be Rockstar. Drafting fourth will be John. It is going to be snake order. So Tyler is second. Rockstar is third. John is fourth.
No double picks for me this week.
No double picks for you, Tyler.
I don't know if I can name 4 different foods to get to mine.
Okay, so John, I know you're up at the big board, but I really would like... Never mind, you've hit the button. We'll do it later. Let's go with number 1 overall. I am going to go with rectangle pizza.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
What a shot.
I think anybody takes that that's in this position.
That was going
right?
to be the number 1, I think, if anybody had the first pick.
Rectangle pizza is number 1. I'm not sure what else needs to be said about it. It takes the pizza off the board.
Takes all pizza off the board?
It depends. I think that there's arguments, but if you have something you want to throw up there, we can talk it out. But it takes the square rectangle pizza off the board that is the traditional. You know, you can't choose like pepperoni or sausage or cheese, or it's all of those rectangular pizzas off the board.
Alrighty then.
What are you going with, Tyler?
I'm going to refer to my list real quick.
Timer is on.
I am going to go with an item that truly needs no introduction, but I'm going to give it one anyway.
Love it,
pizza.
Tyler.
It is crispy, doughy, cheesy, saucy goodness. You take down about 4 of these before going to run a mile in PE class. It's the Italian Dunkers with marinara sauce.
Italian Dunkers with marinara sauce. To me,
Is that cheese sticks?
It's
like
pretty much.
it's
yeah.
like cheese sticks, but that's completely
it's
fair.
it's like a garlic cheese stick.
Completely different food item than what I named. So, yes, was that the one you were worried about us calling foul on?
No.
Oh,
no.
that's not
It
the
is it is a different variety of pizza.
I agree.
Oh.
They're Italian Dunkers, John, not cheese sticks.
I want to do the old grilled
It's all
cheese.
cheese sticks.
Love that choice. Grilled cheese.
Grilled cheese is a solid pick.
Grilled.
All right. Oh yeah, great answer, John.
Crispy toes.
The crisp.
Oh, you
I only
What
read-
is the
thought
crispy
about
toes?
I thought, yeah.
know how you spell
I don't know. I've never heard of it.
No
I
E at the
hate
end.
how often I fall under your humor.
Well, I don't know
Rockstar.
what crispy toes are. What are they?
Crispitos.
But what are they?
They're
That's a
like
good pick.
they're like
It's the single greatest school food that exists.
cheesy Mexican goodness.
So we all nailed cheese for the first round.
There's not cheese in them really. You dip them in cheese.
I've always seen the cheese on top.
or
Yeah,
you can do it on top.
mine were covered in
It's-
nacho cheese.
It's basically ground beef and like a crispy shell, like a taquito or something like that.
Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah.
And then you can put it on top.
But
You
I
can
never
dip it.
had these. I never had crispy toes.
Crispitos are like the thing that if you're going back and
Did you have an option for dipping sauce? Or did you like
It was
just
cheese.
is either
Okay.
cheese on top of it or not for us,
Oh, okay.
for our neck of the woods. But
I was hoping you'd go with something else and leave that one for me, but
I literally only wrote 2 things down: square pizza and Crispitos.
if Crispitos
So I'm
is
glad I
a
got one of
first
them
round
before.
draft pick, then something's wrong.
Being
was
fourth,
hoping
I was like, well, I only
sneak.
wrote 2 things down. I'm gonna miss both of those.
John, you're fifth technically too because you get to
I
go
know.
again.
But I'm through my only 2, so I got to figure it out.
So you only prepared 2 for this list? That sounds like not a winning strategy.
Of 5 days, I would legitimately have probably Crispitos twice, pizza twice, and
Whatever this next item
whatever
is.
this next item is.
Being picked. Okay, got it.
Which is simple, but I'm going to call foul if anybody picks another variety of it.
variety of it?
variety
Chicken.
of it.
Another variety of it.
Chicken nuggets. Oh,
Chicken
so that takes
nugget.
out strips and everything.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
guessing. Okay.
Okay.
Chicken
Okay.
fingers can't be a part
Yeah.
of it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
What about the dino nuggets? That's different. Those are from dinosaurs.
What about steak nuggets?
Yeah.
I guess I'll let steak nuggets, dino nuggets now.
Steak nuggets were served more often in my cafeteria
Mine
than
too.
chicken nuggets.
I honestly
Mine
don't know if
too.
we ever had steak nuggets.
Gross.
And I did not. I'm
I
like,
didn't like the steak nuggets either.
Are those chicken
Y'all feel
nuggets
free
or
to pick
steak
them
nuggets?
then, apparently.
Steak nuggets were not good.
All right, so you can't go brand, right?
Right. Can't go
But
brand.
this was offered, and it's a form. I won't go brand, but it is the form of the cone, the drumstick ice cream cone.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
that's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That chocolate on the bottom. Stop.
See, like
leave
if,
me alone.
if we were doing things where it was like you could also stuff you could bring that's supposed to be for the lunchroom, like pizza Lunchables would be an easy take, but that's
Never
not.
in my life ever even tried a pizza at lunch.
Oh, we got to do that on camera at some point.
The cold marinara.
You,
Marinara.
you got to try the pizza and treats I was telling you about this morning, Rockstar.
I would eat, like, Tyler's things, I'd eat with cold marinara. 10 times out of 10 over hot marinara.
Cold marinara is the best for that. Yeah.
All right, Tyler, you get to go next.
Alrighty, I am going to keep this short and sweet. It's country fried steak with gravy. It's delicious. Everybody loves it.
I don't.
If you don't love it,
I suck.
you're not welcome here. I would get an extra steak, and an extra scoop of gravy.
Scoop. Just ladle that bad boy.
Oh, yeah, just ladle it all over the square compartment in the tray.
Okay, so I don't know if John's going to call foul on this. I'm trying to figure it out.
He probably will.
But
Every chip available.
to me, this is very different than chicken nuggets or even chicken tenders, and it was something that was extremely popular in our school group. And I don't know, kind of nervous about choosing it because
Popcorn chicken.
no, it's the spicy chicken sandwich. The spicy chicken sandwich.
I'll take it.
That's not.
Yeah, that's
not
different
wrong.
than chicken
I'm going with the
nuggets.
spicy chicken sandwich because whenever it was spicy chicken sandwich day, people would lose their minds over that thing because it had a different type of breading and it just hit the right spot. And once again, that's not something you wanted to run in PE after eating the spicy chicken sandwich. Okay, so there was another thing that was wonderful that I don't know if anybody else had this experience, but I got to go with my heart.
Good conversation.
Chicken tetrazzini.
We never had it available.
It was a pasta,
Love
Yeah.
cheese, and
Yeah.
chicken combo.
Love it,
that
but I
was
never had it.
Exceptional. The chicken tetrazzini
Just do
in
10.
the
Just do
round
10.
3 spot.
Yeah, that's fine.
Honestly,
Chicken Tetris.
chicken tetrazzini is fun. If you could just put a ZINI on the end of that, at least people would know what it was.
All right. Another lunchroom classic. It's even got a song written about it. It's the Sloppy Joe.
Yeah.
Sloppy Joe. Yeah.
Yeah. I hate them, but I
well.
love the school version of it. I don't know why.
I'm right there with you, Rocket Star. I never make like the Hunt's manwich at
No,
home.
man,
but,
which is.
but
the
school Sloppy Joe.
Yeah.
With a slice of American cheese.
I will go the tots of the tater variety.
I found
It's a good pick.
I found a multicolored hair in my Sloppy Joe one day, and I ended up making a skit out of it and won a state award for.
See,
how
it breeds
it
creativity.
ended up working, but I did it to the Halloween Michael Myers theme. Of
Have
pulling
you
a
seen? Are you talking about the
hair out of my mouth?
the Rob Zombie one?
Rocky?
I've heard it's
Oh,
good.
the good.
Why
I'm
do
sorry,
I
the
love you
good
so
one.
much today?
The good
Tell
one.
me that. Okay.
All right, so
Tater tots is a great answer, by the way.
I don't know if you're going to count this or not.
Uh-oh.
It is a name brand. I feel like very specific to the name brand, and I would take other options around the same style that is not the name brand.
Okay.
But
So far, nothing has been controversial, so
I'm not going to put it on there, but I'm going to ask if this is acceptable.
go ahead.
A Snickers ice cream bar.
My school didn't have those.
Oh God.
The
My
only reason
school
I'd
didn't
say
have
no.
crispy toes.
The only reason I'd say
Crispy
no is because there's only one Snickers ice cream bar, and that's made by Snickers, right? I mean, like,
Okay.
You could say ice
So
cream
like
bar.
my school had like sort of like the drumstick that's Rocky's talking about.
You
but
could do the ice cream
everything
sandwich.
was
Ice cream
made
sandwiches.
by Mayfield.
Yeah.
because
That's
there's
not the same,
different
but-
brands. Different people make ice cream sandwiches. So Snickers is too specific.
but the Snickers ice cream bar has Snickers
Peanuts and caramel.
contents
Yeah.
in it,
Yes.
which is not replicated generically by
Correct.
anybody.
So ice cream sandwich is the way you can go. That's it. Or the
I'll
ice
foul,
cream
but I
cookie
won't do it.
sandwich. Twix ice cream bar.
Now, when we do ice cream one day in the future or something, then that'll be right there on the board for you.
Now the Snickers ice cream bar is delicious.
Oh, so good.
Too bad it doesn't count, even though we all had it every day.
It wasn't in my lunchroom once.
Oh, that's Chelsea's fault.
You're right.
Nobody said fresh carrots yet. Steamed carrots.
Right. Right.
Honestly, the glazed carrots are a sleeper pick.
No, they're not.
Okay.
Well, it sounds like you can save that one for your last.
yeah. I can keep that one in my
Think
pocket.
you're safe.
All right, I gotta think.
See, I used to get there were little cups of ice cream where you pull off the
Yeah.
paper lid and
you
you're
had the
given
tongue
these
depressor?
You had the
And a
little
wooden
tongue
spoon,
depressor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Those
Yeah,
are awesome
we had
without the
that
tongue
too.
depressor.
You could go with that.
I just chose ice cream.
Yeah.
does that take all ice cream off the board? Because I would argue against an ice cream sandwich.
Well, I mean, he has technically an ice cream cone already up there, so you couldn't take that one off the board retroactively.
No.
I would think just saying ice cream takes
there was
away
those-
the little cups that
those
me and Tim
chocolate.
were just
They had
talking
chocolate,
about.
vanilla, and I think they had strawberry.
Ice cream cups would be
Yeah.
in a category.
which was what, like about 2 thimbles full. It was
It
filling,
was.
very filling.
It was.
Of course, drumstick is also
chocolate
the
was all-
name of those.
That's why I said it's his name, but many people make the drumstick. It's just the
I'm sure
It's
people
the
that try
style.
to imitate the Snickers ice cream bar is not very good.
often imitated.
I don't know, man. I ran out of steam after Crispitos.
You came out of the gate strong, at least.
Literally Crispitos. What did I do second? Oh, yeah, chicken nuggets.
I will accept a trade with Crispitos. I will pay you $20 for Crispitos to be a
I'm
part of
sure
my
you would, Tim.
Just kidding.
Okay.
I'm kidding. It's a joke. It was a
I'll do it.
self-deprecating
I'll do
joke.
it. Good God Almighty.
Hey, he's not on there.
It would be a great choice.
Yeah. Weird for your third choice.
That covers
though.
everything, right? So I win. That's the EG method.
Ketchup packet.
You know John's not picking that.
I'm just gonna go.
Watch it be a banger of a choice here.
It's exactly
Low
what
main.
it
You
is.
go ice cream cups, and those would be a huge win.
I literally eat this, occasionally that.
I feel like there's one you're not naming that afterwards I'm going to name, and you're going to be like, I should have taken that one on my list.
I mean,
I feel like he's just, prepping the upset of the century again.
I would occasionally get this.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Mac and cheese. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that pick.
That is the one I thought that if you don't name, I'm going to be shocked.
I got mac and cheese.
Yeah, but cafeteria mac and cheese is hit or miss.
Thing is,
It
I
can
got
be.
so
It definitely
many
can be.
things, I didn't need to. If I could just put cheese sauce on the top, it would be good.
Cheese sauce for the Crispitos. You guys got to dip yours. Milk.
Milk, great answer.
Yeah.
The carton of milk. Chocolate or vanilla? I know it encompasses all of it, but what was your go-to, John? That's all I'm asking. Normal?
You didn't do orangeade? We had orangeade. It was awful.
Yeah.
What is orange?
I did do canned Gatorade though, which I don't know if y'all had that. I brought that up
Yeah.
yesterday. Canned Gatorade.
And gator
was
gum?
Awesome. Gatorade gum. First 3 bites. Woo, so good.
Those pictures of canned Gatorade blew my mind yesterday. Never seen them before.
I got it from, this is my last one.
Yep, last
I'll
one.
just do the cheeseburger.
Hated my cafeteria cheeseburger.
I didn't
Is-
love them, but
is-
I mean,
The patties were like steamed.
they were like soybean.
I am going to go with a corn dog.
Good answer.
They're just solid, consistent. Hot dog day at my school was always rough because like the the buns would be all soggy and it'd be like they had already been sitting out for over an hour, and
Yes,
so
that's why you got to eat it there.
you got to
take
go
it
with
home
the
from
corn
the
dogs.
cafeteria.
All right, I'm going to ask a question, and I totally understand if y'all rule against me here on this, but I got to at least take the shot.
I rule against it.
I know you already rule against it, so I'm really listening to Tyler and Rocky, who would end up really deciding this. If I wanted to go with the salad bar, is that an option that I can go with?
I mean,
What's
if
on
you
the
had
salad
said
bar?
like
I would
a
make you
chef's
say,
salad.
I would say
or
make you
something.
say just salad.
Yeah.
Because we had a potato bar too for a while at middle school. right?
Yeah.
Because heck, I'll go to the
baked
salad bar and
potato
I won't touch the lettuce.
Yeah.
So I would say a salad.
Salad. But
Salad
I can't say
bar.
the salad bar.
Salad bar is like saying I'm gonna take the buffet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, you know how you could go down the line and you could either choose main entree or you could choose salad bar?
Yeah.
Man, I loved that salad bar. Okay,
Oh,
but I
I
don't
wish I
There's
could
always-
take off
We,
that.
we could do both.
No, I'm
I'd pay
fine.
for it,
but I don't want to
Salad is okay
push the
because I can
limits.
still encompass multiple salads, but
Right.
I would not say salad bar.
okay.
I can also just get a bunch of cheese and put it on everything too.
Got it.
Salad bar.
Got it. Okay.
I mean, I guess if you like made it with all the fixings, it'd be like a chef's salad, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't even think you have to classify the actual salad. Just it is a salad. It is not. I'm going to the salad bar to make something else.
I would
Yeah,
never.
Which you can do.
Right. I'm not making a snowman or anything, John. I'm just, I would be making a salad.
A very healthy snowman.
Just get a bowl full of
You know
bacon
what?
bits and
I
cheese.
think it has to be. I'm gonna drop the salad thing. I think I've. Okay, I think here's what I'm gonna go with. Take the best of both worlds, maybe. I'm gonna go with a taco salad. Taco salad.
Taco salad day at my school always.
Taco salad day was huge.
was
Slapped.
riot.
Give me the taco salad there in the fourth spot, which kind of gives me a little extra flavor there at the end. So, here we are.
Little exotic flavors.
Leave the salad out, and a taco salad's great.
So, that is going to conclude our draft. I'm glad we went 4 rounds because I don't think we could have gone a fifth and it been
No, I
comfortable.
totally forgot.
I
I just
had
thought about pudding and Jello.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jello! I love Jello.
Man, I didn't
Mine
even
only
have to
drink-
break out the stromboli or the fish sandwich.
You know what I was going to go with? I was going to go with turkey and dressing from
Yeah.
Thanksgiving days.
I thought about putting that on my
Gosh,
list too.
That was a if we'd gone a 5th round, that's what
Did you ever have the ham and
next.
cheese
Hot ham and cheese.
hoagie? It was on a hoagie roll. Those are
didn't have
legit.
No, we didn't really have that. My last pick probably would have been mashed potatoes and gravy.
Mashed potatoes is,
Good pick,
is
too.
a big. The fact that mashed potatoes end up there is big. Okay, we're going to go through our list now and make the argument for why we should get your votes. And we ask once again, you please rank them in order from favorite to least favorite. The numbers are up on the board. I got to pick first, and I took the Arnold Schwarzenegger of this draft, Rocky, which I believe you won the last draft with the action stars, just
Did I win?
narrowly. I think
Yes, you did.
it was.
I believe.
It's well done. But I went with the Arnold Schwarzenegger pick of this draft, which is the rectangular pizza. There is no other option to go with as the first overall draft pick than that. And I promise if anyone had been in that spot, they would have taken it. It was something that you're just obligated to go down that path. So that is taken off the board early. The spicy chicken sandwich was something my school lost their minds over, and it was very rare. It was like every 3 weeks there would be a spicy chicken sandwich day worked in, and people would lose their mind and be like, oh, I got to get that spicy chicken sandwich. So I remember that being a very popular choice, and I think that that's related to people's adult life now, where they're constantly going for the spicy chicken sandwich every day, maybe for their lunch option at work. The chicken tetrazzini, I'm going to say, may be the steal of the draft. The pasta, the cheese, the chicken, the warmth, the fact that there's some lady with a ladle and she's scooping it on your plate, and you just know that Chris Farley looking woman has given you a taste of goodness. That's
Hoagies
the
and
chicken
grinders.
tetrazzini.
Hoagies and grinders.
And then,
Hey, I got the sloppy Joe on my list.
and then to wind down, I had to make this last pick count. It was the overall last pick of the draft, and I went with taco salad, which I think can be definitely catered to your liking there and is a very strong way to wind down this list that I have put forward as my lunchroom menu items of choice. Up next is Tyler. Tyler, present your list to the class.
All right, first off, ignore where it says cheese sticks. It's an Italian dunker, all right? This is more than a cheese stick. When you say cheese stick, it makes me think of string cheese. That's not what this is. This is more like a garlic bread stick that's filled with cheese, and you can dunk it in
Okay.
marinara sauce.
Okay.
Hence the name.
Yeah.
Next up, country fried steak, a southern classic. You load that up with gravy. You have it with your side of mashed potatoes.
Oh, wow.
Everybody at my school went nuts over it. Number 3, we're going to breeze right past it. It's the Sloppy Joe. Like I said, you got the song. They even referenced the Chris Farley lunch lady. Well, that happens that she was serving Sloppy Joes, not chicken tetrazzini. And then corn dog, another classic, a staple of any lunchroom, consistent and delicious.
Okay, Tyler. Felt oddly personal, but I really do appreciate your effort there. Let's move on to Rocky presenting his list in the number 3 spot.
I'm just seeing a picture of these Italian dunkers. My God, I missed out. I never got the opportunity to have an Italian
I
dunker.
never had
See,
those either.
they're amazing.
I went with the grilled cheese, the drumstick ice cream cone, if you had an extra $1 or $2 for the end of your meal after spending $1 on lunch. Then you got your tater tots. Then I'm regretting my last pick as the cheeseburger because I just realized I didn't include ravioli. We had a ravioli bar that was a la carte. You could just get it. And I remember I eat ravioli all the time. I hate that. But the cheeseburger with that soybean burger on the uncomfortable frozen bun to round it out.
If I had the number one pick instead of last, yes, I would have taken pizza. However, the easy number 2 was Crispitos. I don't know how it fell all the way to number 4 for me to take that. It is an absolute staple. It was every Friday night before a football game. I ate that. And Thompson, a couple of years ago, added it back, and you would have thought that, they had just, won 15 state championships at once. It was celebration. I saw it on the superintendent's page. Everybody was so happy. So glad Crispitos are back at the school we're now paid by. Number 2, chicken nuggets. You can't go wrong with chicken nuggets. This also took chicken fingers off the board, so I will kind of classify basically any handheld chicken, fried chicken you can pick up and eat. That is not on the bone. I won't count that. Number 3, mac and cheese. It's a staple. It's easy. It's hard to mess up. Mac and cheese is a go-to, and then nobody else had a drink. So if you're wanting a nice, well-rounded meal, you can have a nice carton of milk and make your bones strong with my list.
You know what I keep seeing is Mick, and it makes me want to watch some Cover Crimson. That's what it's really pushing me to do, is I keep seeing Mick up on the board.
New episode of Elephant in the Room out at 7 p.m. today.
Oh,
also,
look at that.
There was a Cover Crimson stream at noon today. Make sure you go check that out at youtube.com/@covercrimson.
Love it, Tyler.
If I had to pick a meal right now to eat, I think John and I are tied. I could do.
Got to wash it down somehow.
And I'd give my son the milk. But because I've never had a crispy toe.
So good.
Yeah. But I can't stand country fried steak. Tim, you're a third place. Tyler, your cheese sticks are the only thing and your Sloppy Joe. But
Rocky's definitely second behind mine, then probably Tim, then probably Tyler, because I don't like corn dogs. I don't like Sloppy Joes. Country fried steak's okay. And then any kind of bread and cheese receptacle I can dip into marinara, I will take.
I feel very passionately that John has the second best list on the board after mine, and Crispitos is a total home run. Those things are very popular. Chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, milk, that right there alone is a good meal. So we're all showing some love here, and we would love for you to vote. There are some that vote live here on the live stream. Your votes are counted, and there are some that end up watching later and vote in the comments section, and we'd appreciate it if you would drop your rankings down there from best to worst, and those will be tallied up and ready to go for next week. Congratulations to Rockstar for finishing first in the Action Star Draft. That means I have a win, John has a win, Tyler has a win. Rockstar has a win.
Even Stevens.
EG has no win so far.
And she has all the Mexican chips, though.
And I'm sure
she tried to steal it.
She's going to come in and try to go for the jugular next time she's a part of a draft. So that's going to do it for our Meltdown
Are we drafting
draft.
favorite drinks? The wet ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
The ones with sugar.
All right. John. No, mine's with a straw. It's different. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll take all of the ones that come in a can or a bottle.
Right. E.g., whatever the line is of, competition, fair competition, she goes right up to it and tiptoes over and go, "What are you doing?" And then she hops back and then blames you for looking. So that is E.g. when it comes to the way she handles trivia and the way she handles the draft. But you got to love her competitive spirit. John, we're making a lot of better food options in our life, a lot of better food choices, dietary choices. A lot of this stuff we would just turn our nose up to now, thanks to our friends at Way to Wellness.
We would. Go to aplanforme.com. You too can learn more about our friends at Way to Wellness. There's Tim weighing in, me weighing in. We're over 90 pounds down combined. There's Leslie in the background with her whole board certified team helping us out, helping us drop the pounds and keep them off. I wish I had this program back when I was in school, because then I would have probably made better choices instead of 15 Crispitos every single day. But yeah, go to aplanforme.com. You can get a plan that works for you, just like I have a plan that works for me. Tim has a plan that works for him. Jim Dunaway has a plan that works for him. My dad even has a plan that works for him. Go to aplanforme.com.
And we've talked a lot about fantasy sports today, but one thing that's very real, John, is the amount that can be earned through our title sponsor, MyBookie, especially with football so fastly approaching, where you can, maybe you're not a college fan, maybe you just want to look at the pros, or maybe you want to do both, make your Saturdays and your Sundays intriguing, throw in a few Thursdays, a few Mondays. All of a sudden we'll be getting it every day a week, and that's a great way to build your bankroll with our friends at MyBookie.
From college Saturdays to NFL Sundays to Maction on Tuesday and Wednesday, you can play anything, anytime, anywhere at mybookie.ag. Use that promo code next round to get a first deposit bonus on us, always down there in the corner for you. You can play that. You can play in the casino. You can play in the live casino as well. Real cards, real roulette wheels, all that fun stuff. Go to mybookie.ag.
And make sure you're subscribed right here to the Meltdown. We'd appreciate that thumbs up, helping us grow our channel as much as possible. We appreciate all of your support. They're in the live chat. Jeff, Steven, Ryan, Boomer, Charles, Smuff, all you guys have been so great for us there in the live chat, and we really do appreciate you being here every day, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern.